everybody, welcome back to Daniellability. Today we are in my kitchen. I thought it would be fun to show you guys how I navigate when I'm cooking dinner. The kitchen can be one of the hardest places to navigate with a wheelchair. A lot of things are out of reach or are inaccessible in other ways. So I thought I would show you guys some of the ways that I work around that because I love to cook and I would never want my wheelchair to get in the way of doing things that I love. So my stove is actually a normal height. There's not really anything different about it. The only time it can be a challenge is if I'm using a bigger pot, like a stock pot, and then I can't see into it. So that can be a little bit tough sometimes, but in general, it's not too big of an issue. I can usually cook most things at the stove. If I had my dream home, I would probably do a countertop stove and have it be at a drop counter to make it a little bit easier. So tonight I am making tacos. The big thing that is accessible in my kitchen is the refrigerator. When I moved into this house, the refrigerator was just your standard refrigerator with the freezer on top, but those are really hard for me to use because I can't reach pretty much anything in the freezer. So I replaced it with this kind of refrigerator where the freezer is on the bottom and then the refrigerator is on the top. So there are a couple shelves that are harder for me to reach, but I put things up there that I don't use as much and it's not really a problem. And it just makes everything a lot easier to access. That I love about my kitchen is this drop counter. Now, when I moved in to this house, this was actually not here. There was just a little breakfast table here. So I actually had this installed to the height that I wanted and everything to have a space that I could work, whether it was using a cutting board or anything like that. I always do most of my work at this counter. made all of this food, how do I get it to the table? Typically, this is how I get around. And I know it looks super silly, but it works for me. So either I kind of hold things like this in one hand and then wheel with one, or I will carry it in both hands and wheel with my elbows. So a couple other things worth mentioning about my kitchen. The cabinets are standard cabinets. There are high ones and low ones. I try to keep everything that I need on a regular basis in the lower cabinets, or at least on the bottom shelf in the higher cabinets. But obviously there isn't enough storage for everything to fit in the lower cabinets. So there are some things that are out of my reach. Most of them are things I don't use on a regular basis, and my sister will help me get those down if I need them. The dishwasher I'm able to access with no problem. The oven I'm able to access with no problem. So there are definitely things in the kitchen that are totally accessible and I don't have to worry about them at all. But those are just a couple of the things that pose problems. You know, regular counters are typically too high, or they don't have a space for me to roll under them, so I can't get close enough to use them well. And as you noticed, the sink is definitely high, but it's doable. It definitely would be easier if there was space to roll under it for me, but I make it work. One of my dreams actually is to build a home that would be 100% accessible, 100% what I would want it to be. When I was growing up, my parents actually built a home, and so the home that I grew up in was definitely more wheelchair accessible than most homes. I would love to have the opportunity to build something that's 100% for me. So that's just a little sneak peek into my kitchen and how I function and how I do different things. I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any ideas of how it could be more accessible or things that you've done to accommodate for your wheelchair in your kitchen, let me know. I'd love to hear. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.